There was a time in Bihar when every night was more danger than war. Every knock on the door felt like it was the last moment of the life. There was no law and constitution was just a piece of paper. India remembers this moment with two words: Jungle Raj. It is not a history. It is a scar. Long before, in 1990s, Bihar was controlled by feudal powers. The so-called upper caste like Brahmins, Bhumihars, Rajputs, Kayasthas owned land, economics, politics and power. The majority of the population, the Yadavs, Kurmis, Dalits and the landless peasants, they were lived under humiliation and they were beaten for speaking, killed for resisting, and they were treated like a property. That time Bihar was not a civic society, it was a feudal slavery. Later in 1990s comes the Mandal Commission, the reservation for OBCs. It was very hard for the upper caste people to accept people are equal. So the university turns battleground, and from that flame a man arises who shattered the centuries of dominance. Lalu Prasad Yadav, hero for the Yadavs, Muslims and Dalits, villain for the so-called upper caste. Power shifted, but administration collapsed. A new ruling class emerged: dons, gangsters, Bahubali turned kings. They replaced government, they replaced police, they replaced justice. Bihar was no longer ruled by law, it was ruled by fear. Dalits, the landless peasants, started forming their own militant group in order to fight for their rights and to fight against the landlords, especially backed by the communists. On the other side, the landlords, based on their caste, they started forming their own militant groups. Ranvir Sena by Bhumihar landlords, Bhumi Sena by Kurmi landlords, Kuer Sena by Rajput landlords, Lorik Sena by Yadavs, Sunlight Sena by Muslim and Rajput landlords, and also MCC, Maoist Communist Center, for Dalits and landless peasants fight for their rights, and also CPI-ML for Dalits and other OBC rights. These are the militant groups were formed and they were fighting each other and they were killing each other, and the whole state was like a battlefield. The communists did not pick up the guns by their choice, but it was the compulsion to fight for their land, to fight for their right against those landlords. Politicians formed a formula to destroy Bihar, which is money plus caste is equal to power. Criminals, murderers, rapists started joining political parties and they started becoming MLAs and MPs. People had no choice, instead owning them. Rajput gangster turned politician MP Anand Mohan Singh was convicted in the murder of Krishnaya Ji, a Dalit IAS officer from a poor family, was lynched in 1994. He was released earlier following the political pressure, which shows that Bihar was never ruled by law. It was nothing less than a jungle raj on that time. And one more incident which shook the entire Bihar, it happened in 1999, which is Shilpi-Gautam murder case. Shilpi Jain and Gautam Singh were found dead inside the car, which was inside a government politician's quarters. This quarter belongs to Sadhu Yadav, the brother-in-law of Lalu Prasad Yadav. He was a MLC on that time in the ruling party RJD. The case was initially handled by the Bihar police, or based on the political pressure, the Bihar police labeled this case as a suicide. Then the case was transferred to CBI following the pressure from the girl's family. And despite all the investigations, and even CBI asked for Sadhu Yadav's DNA, which he refused to give. Later, this case was closed as suicide. It was so evident, without knowing who the killer, they just closed the case, which clearly shows how Bihar was on those days. Even Shilpi Jain's brother, Prashant Jain, was recently abducted from his home and later released. In India, an economy of a state is based on a lot of things like tourism, agriculture, IT exports, and so on. But on that time, the economy of Bihar was based on kidnapping. Can you believe that? Yes, in Bihar, kidnapping became a biggest industries. The doctors, engineers, students, girls, whoever they think they can fetch money by kidnapping them were kidnapped and held for ransom. And the vehicle of terror was one icon. It was Maruti White Omni. People's heart started beating fast when they see a white Omni parked outside their house. What if they are going to be the next victim of the kidnappers? Bathani, Tola, Laxmanpur, Bath, Senari, Mianpur. These were the entire villages wiped out. Children were butchered. Women were set on fire. Whenever feudal armies killed OBCs and Dalits, communists retaliated with equal fire. There are countless crimes from these years which never reached newspapers. Unreported kidnappings, rapes, murders, disappearance, and so on. Criminals were protected and they were politicians as well. Nobody dared to go up against them and to complain against them. Police are on the payroll of criminals and they obey their masters. Now it is 2025. Is there any change in Bihar? No, not much. Still, the politics is controlled by power, caste, especially the dons, the gangsters who are contesting and winning the elections, and people still has no choice. Important to note that the politician who never want any change to happen in Bihar so that they can exploit the people as much they can. And the Jungle Raj we just spoke about a tip of the iceberg, and there are a lot of cases, there are a lot of injustice happen to lot of common people and even for the powerful officers as well.